Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sarel van Grenen, aka Mr. VG, and I am excited to be on this journey with you. I'm excited to dig deeper into equations and inequalities, and in this video, we are specifically going to have a look at exponential equations as well as surds. So, the three things we are going to have a look at today is, first of all, when we have an x in the exponent. Secondly, when we've got a fraction in the exponent. And then thirdly, which is not on this specific slide, is if I've got a surd in my equation. So let's buckle up and let's dig in. Question 1 reads the following. Solve for x 3 times a quarter to the power of x minus 1 equal to 96. Step 1 is always going to be get your power alone. In other words, that a quarter I need to get alone on one side with the power of x minus 1 attached to it. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3, which leads me to have a quarter to the power of x minus 1 equal to 32. Now I'm going to go to step 2, which is going to be make the bases equal. I like to make them prime, but sometimes, both of them could be written as 4 to the power of something. Check out the scenario in this, you'll see. Now in this one, I'm going to make the bases 2. So quarter is 2 to the negative 2, and 32 is 2 to the 5. Now before I can get to step 3, let's get rid of those brackets. And step 3 says that I've got to now equate the exponents, which leads me towards negative 2x minus 2 equal to 5. Step 4, just solve the resultant equation. In other words, x is going to be negative 3.5. I encourage you, if you are, a bit unsure, or if I'm going too quick, hit the pause button at this moment. Try the sum yourself. Make sure that you are able to do this. Let's have a look at the second example when there's a fraction in the exponent. So I'm going to have a look at this specific example. 4x to the power of 2 over 3 equal to 64. Now when I look at this specific example, it's actually quite simple. And I'm going to follow a lot of the same kind of procedures I did with x in the exponent, except when we make the bases the same. So let's quickly have a look at step 1. Step 1 is again get the power alone. So in this case, I'm going to get that x to the 2 over 3 alone by dividing by 4 on both sides, which leads me to x to the power of 2 over 3 equal to 16. Here's where we kind of now diverge from the left, because what we need to do is I need to take the reciprocal of the exponent on both sides. Now, if reciprocal is a really big word, it basically means that I am going to take that 2 over 3 and flip it, so it becomes 3 over 2, and I'm going to take that on both sides, so both left as well as right. But here comes a little bit of a side note. And with this, ladies and gents, I want you to look me in the eyes. And I want to just quickly say the following. Be very, very careful. Because when you take or bring in your own exponents, like I took now a power of 3 over 2 and I brought it in, there are some restrictions that apply at this moment of time. So look at this and let me write it down for you what those specific restrictions are. If the introduced exponent, so the one that you brought in, if that one's denominator is even, then you have to put a plus or minus in front of your specific solution. In other words, that 2 is even, and hence I've got to put a plus minus now in front of the 16. The reason for that is because By taking an even power denominator, I'm actually bringing in square roots. Fourth power roots, sixth, eighth, 10th power roots, which means that I have two possible answers, a positive answer and a negative. If it was over 3, it would be a cubic root, which do not need a plus minus. So please be very careful. Please write down this little note that I made, and then you go and try the sum, try other sums as well. So, therefore, x is plus or minus 8. Now, if you wonder where I get the 8 from, especially if they say without use of a calculator, remember that 16 to the power of 3 over 2 is the same as 2 to the power of 4 to the power of 3 over 2, which is 2 goes into 4 twice, which leaves me with 2 to the power of 2 times by 3, which is 6. Oh my goodness, I made a mistake. Ladies and gents, it's normal to make mistakes. And let me just teach you something. I'm the first guy to admit I make a mistake. But always make double sure that you don't make a mistake. So let me just quickly, that's not 2 to the 6 is not 8. It's actually 64. So my answer is 64. But both positive 64 as well as negative 64. So I've got two options. Ladies and gents, let's move on to surds. I love surds, and I picked this one out just to try and catch you out. So in this next example, ladies and gents, I'm asking you to solve the root of x plus 2 plus x equal to 0. Crucial, you need to get your surd alone before I can square both sides. Please get the surd alone first. So to get the surd alone, or the root, I'm going to take that plus x over, and it becomes negative x. Now, let me just write that a bit neater. Negative x. And then, what do? Step 2, I square both sides. So in other words, by squaring both sides, I square the negative as well as that x. So I'm going to sit with x plus 2 equal to x squared, because the negative squared is just a positive. And now I need to solve x. So my step 3 is going to be solve the equation. Now I hope by now that you are good enough to solve this by yourself. So hit the pause button on the video at the moment, solve it yourself, and then come back to me in about a minute or so, and then let's see whether you did it right. If you did it yourself, you would have sat with the following solutions. 0 is equal to x squared minus x minus 2. And now I factorize x, which leads me towards x being both 2 or negative 1. If you got to this point, perfect, but you're not done, because there is a step 4. Step 4 is crucial with surds as well as fractions. You have to test your answers. I cannot tell you how important it is. You don't want to throw away one silly mark because you didn't test your answers. So what do I mean by test? I literally mean sub in left, sub in right. See that you get the same answers. But the first one, if I sub in 2 on the left, I get 4. But on the right, it's 0. So in other words, 2 is not applicable, because left does not equal right. Also, with negative 1, if I substitute in, I get 0, both left and right. So 1 works out. ladies and gents. This is a fantastic, fantastic little question, this one, because it's very easy by doing a lot of examples that you always throw out the negative answer because sir, it's negatives. Oh, sir. But guys, it's always only after testing do you eliminate some of those answers. So please join in for the next video. This is Sarah van Grennen, aka Mr. VG. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video about linear and quadratic inequalities. Have a beautiful and wonderful rest of your day. Cheers.